Okay, so hi everybody. Welcome to a webinar that we're all really excited about. What's coming to Explain Everything in 2021? I'm Anastasia from Explain Everything, and I'm joined here today by our Head of Product Experience, Piotr Pluta. Hi, Piotr.
Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm excited to meet you.
Tell us what you do, Piotr.
Well, I'm a head of product and explain everything. So I'm taking care of all product related activities. So I'm aligning the product to our company goals. I'm listening to users' feedback, and I'm trying to, provide the best experience of our platform for our users and for you.
Yes, thank you. And we are also being supported by Kuba, known as Cooper to many of you probably, and Mariana, who will be answering your questions on the chat if need be. So feel free to ask your questions, and we'll definitely answer them. But yeah, it's safe to say that nobody knows Explain Everything Whiteboard as well as Piotr, and that's why he's here today to tell us about what we are going to be doing in 2021. So with that said, I'd like to share our agenda over here so that you can see what we'll be doing today. And as I said, this is all about what we are going to be doing here in 2021. But before we get started, I just kind of wanted to just mention a few things that we're kind of happy and proud about from last year. So we did win the App Store Best of 2020 award for leading the classroom, which is right here, and we are always very excited about that. Our users have the amount of users that we have has really grown over the past year, as you can see on the map at the bottom of the screen. We're pretty much everywhere at this point, and the amount of users just keeps on coming. So that's great. Also, our rating has gone up, surprisingly. So because last year was a difficult year for everybody, but we're proud to say that our rating has also gone up to 4.47 in the App Store. And yeah, we're just really happy that we've been able to support teachers and just generally educators around the globe in restoring a feeling of togetherness in a time that was just so difficult for everybody. So once again, welcome. And what's the agenda for today? So the first thing we're going to do is summarize 2020. Piotr is going to tell us about all of the cool new things that have happened and Explain Everything over the past year. And then we're going to move on to the main point of our program, which is what's coming in 2021. And of course, at the end, we are going to have a Q&A session. So as I mentioned before, you can ask your questions on the chat during this webinar, but at the end, we'll also have a special time where we will be answering your questions right here, in real time on the microphone. So with that said, let's start with a quick summary of 2020, because it was a big year for Explain Everything and a very, very productive year. So Piotr, please, if you could just tell us what were the biggest things that happened in Explain Everything.
Yes, it was quite a big year, and it was also a hard year, almost for everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah, but as Anastasia mentioned, we have gained a lot of new users that started to use our platform. So a lot of new teachers, a lot of new students. And well, during this year, we basically listened what are their feedback and try to help them as much as we can during this hard months. And so we fixed hundreds of bugs across all of our platforms, and we've implemented a lot of improvements that were suggested by you. And well, one of the biggest things that we've did in last year was a new follow me feature. So it was the ability to follow the teachers across the slides for the student, and it was one of the things that were mentioned by you. So and it also helps immensely in the school and teaching scenarios. So this was one of the biggest changes for our platform. And the other things were better drawing separation. So the drawings are now separated better. So it's better to handle them. And a lot of improvements to collaboration stability and web video link speed. So the collaboration was one of the things that grew during those months, because you had to work remotely, and well, it showed in our ecosystem that the collaboration is one of the biggest features that should and need to be supported by us.
Yeah, I know, especially, last year where suddenly so many people were trapped in their homes, the collaboration feature was especially necessary for everybody during that time. But you mentioned all of these improvements, and I'm just curious, how do you measure these improvements?
Well, as you said, we measured them by, for example, increased App Store's rating.
Mm-hmm.
So our ratings grew during the pandemic. So it seems that not only you've used the platform and the ecosystem of Explain Everything, but also the quality of it grew along with the users. So also the customer satisfaction. We talk with our customers. We see how they are using the platform and if they are satisfied. And we are trying to make the experience for them as best as we can. And this is basically what we did in this last year and what we'll be doing in the next year. So.
Yeah, it's true. More users than ever also means more feedback than ever. And it's been a lot of work. I've observed so many people working so hard in the help center, for example, in the help desk. But yeah, that's definitely led to a lot of feedback and those improvements that you mentioned. So thank you. So great. So that's 2020. Let's just leave that in the past and let's move on to the roadmap for 2021. So Piotr, if you could tell me, what are the main goals for 2021?
Yes. So our goal always has been to make teachers' lives easier, and all of the lives that are, all of the users that are using our product or platform to make their lives easier and to help them to save time and to just, do the tasks that they are requiring to do in their work much faster. So our goal is simplicity, clarity, and predictability. So we know that during the pandemic, the teachers don't have time to learn a lot of different tools and integrate them together.
Oh, it's been so chaotic for
Yeah,
everyone.
so it's very chaotic. And if something goes wrong suddenly during the lesson or during the presentation, it's very hard to follow what can you do next when something goes wrong. Mm-hmm. It's very, very hard. And if there are apps or systems or all of the integrations that all of the apps and tools are using are not predictable, mm-hmm. you can land in the situation where you don't want to be. So it's one of our goals to make this platform predictable and stable. And when you are trying to do something, you should perform it as simple and as quickly as possible.
So basically simplicity, clarity, and predictability. It's always been Explain Everything's mission, but I guess this is especially important now and especially important moving forward.
Yes, and it's very hard, in such a big and feature-packed app or ecosystem. So it's hard. We know it, and we know that we have a lot of things to improve, but also ways we are focusing on this when we plan new initiatives.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. So one thing that we've prepared for all of you here today are a few demonstrations of the upcoming new features and different things that our team here, our production team, is planning to implement. Keep in mind that these are just kind of like rough sketches. This is just a kind of a peek behind the curtain at what's happening in Explain Everything right now. And these are things that we are most likely going to implement this year, right, Piotr?
Yeah. So I'm excited to show you new export options that we are planning to release quite soon. And just let me share my screen. As we said, our goal was always, a simplicity, a clarity, and speed to do the task that we want to perform and Explain Everything. So we've tried to save some of your time during project export. So the printing, video creation, creating documents that you are sending to others or assignments. Those are the main use cases that we've tried to focus on. And we are working on the local. For now, it's local. It will be released on the mobile platforms, but then we will work on the web video link features and other cloud export options. But this is the local export that I'm going to show you how it could save, your time when you are trying to send or share something to others. So let's see. For example, up to now, if you had something like this document here, it's first page of the book, just an example. And you wanted to annotate something, so you could just show case here or here, and fix this. Just some kind of example. And you wanted to share this as a PDF document. So up to now, you had to try to position this document to fit ideally in this canvas, and you would land with some blank spaces on the left, on the right, on the top, and so on. And well, if you finish annotating, you would have to just spend some time in aligning this, and this is not ideal.
Kind of time consuming.
Yeah, this is not ideal solution. So imagine that you just finish annotating here and add something in this place, and you don't have to think about positioning this document. You just press export and document, and as you can see, there are new options here. So
oh yeah, those weren't there before.
Yeah, and let's just imagine that you want to export this as a vertical page, and something is stuck here, I believe.
Real-time troubleshooting.
Yeah,
huh?
So let me just try to create a new slide and go from the beginning. So
as I said, this is just a rough draft.
So I'm importing
still
a
working
document
on this
here,
one.
and annotating something. Just let's do something here, and I'm exporting this as a. Oh, as you can see, this is some kind of error, and I'm exporting it here. And as you can see, I've used option fit entire slide, and I use the page format A4 vertical. And you will have all of the formats that you are using. It's here in Europe, we use A4 and A3, not standard formats. So this will be, something that
so
can be selected.
The canvas size will just adapt to the file size.
Yeah, and imagine that, this PDF that I've annotated just before, it fits perfectly now in this page. And I can, of course, fit it to the horizontal page. And as you can see, it fits on the top and on the bottom. Obviously, we can't fit it more, but you can see that it gives us new options to perform such tasks. And it's much quicker than doing this, where I try to position it ideally.
And it looks much better too. There's much less empty space. Yeah, I like it.
And let's just try this again. Document is small here, but I can tell it to fit, and it fits, as you can see. Or I can just say I want current view, so I see it exactly like I see it on the canvas here, but the fit is better for printing or for exporting this document. You can also add some margins here. As you can see, it can be handy when you are printing something. So let's just try to export this and print. And as you can see, we have nice document that it's fitted in the page.
Yeah, that does look much better.
But it looks like this, and you don't have to try to fit it anymore and do all the time-consuming tasks that we had to always do before.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a time saver for everybody using
and so this
everything.
is just one of the options of this new export, and I'm going to show you something more for the video, because this is just for the documents. And for the video, here we have some kind of recording, and as you can see, it's
cosmologist Stephen Hawking and billionaire Yuri Milner want to send probes.
Up to now, when you've exported this recording to the video file, for example, MP4 or other formats, you just had to click export and, pray that it will export correctly and it will export, with how are you, imagining that it will export. And now with the new export options, you will have video preview. So
you'll be able to see how it looks ahead of time.
You will be able to see ahead of time how it will export and how it will look on the video. So I imagine that it would also save some time, because you can have longer videos than this one. This is just an example.
Mm-hmm.
But you will be able. Those buttons are don't look on this is not the final version, but you'll be able to just press 10 seconds or back 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So you will be able to jump and scrabble through this video. So you'll see how exactly it will be exported.
So if you made any mistakes, you can basically spot them before
you just
create your
click
video.
cancel, and you can edit your timeline, and then you can again click export.
Awesome.
Video, yeah. So this is kind of another time-saving thing that
Definitely.
we are thinking of. But we also, as a bonus, we are introducing some new options. For example, you don't want this video in this format because it does not fit, for example, on some of your social media that you want to post, or in other use cases or scenarios that you want to use it. So you can change this format, for example, to the square. And as you can see, now we have the square here that shows you exactly part of the video that will be exported. So for example, I don't want, to show all the planets. I just want to show the Earth. And well, as you can see, I can move this square and I can just use it to just show this. Or I can change the format. Those formats are, very...
How many different formats are there? Oh my gosh.
This is kind of, a big list of formats that you can use. For example, you can use ultra wide format that you will just, create a panoramic view. So only this part that is showcased here in this, it will be exported. So maybe you just want this one, or just this without the caption that is shown above. And you also have multiple other options, resolutions, quality, and so on. So
wow, that's a long,
this is
long
just
list.
kind of a lot of exploring here. I'm just showcasing some basic, stuff that should save your time. You have also new export to GIF option. So it will be similar to video, which you can create a GIFs easily here. So this is basically a showcase of new export options that are coming probably in the next month or two.
Really? So quickly?
Yeah. So they will come first on the mobile platforms, and then we will think about incorporating those changes in the web video link interface. So we will be able to preview your video links too. So because this is a much faster way to export.
Yeah, that's true.
Video.
Of course, because of the cloud, right?
Yeah. So this is basically the export highlights.
So we've covered the topic of new exports in that case, and thanks for that. That was a lot of information, and I think a lot of people I can kind of see people's comments here. It seems people are excited about it, so that's great. I am too, and yeah, I heard that you'll be implementing some improvements to the custom interface as well. Could you tell me about that, please?
Yes. So let me just change my device.
Okay, sure.
Because showcasing all this stuff requires some preparation first. And well,
so okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so basically custom interface, what does it mean? So well, we've heard feedback that Explain Everything interface, so the project interface, is often too cluttered for some scenarios, or for some mainly for the younger students, or
I think it could be distracting.
Yeah,
right, to
it
see
could
all
be
those
distracting.
tools.
As you can see, there's a lot of stuff here. So there is a multiple toolbars, and all of this is useful, but not all of this is useful in
every context,
every scenario.
right?
Yeah, in every context. So we were thinking, how can we try to change some of this try to showcase only the important stuff where we can configure this interface for your scenarios. So not all features are necessary, so we should be able to just turn them off. So let's see how it could look.
So say, for example, here we have a child learning to form their letters. They don't need all of those tools, right?
Exactly. So this is very simple scenario, letter tracing for, very small, young students. Yes. So, and they don't need all of this stuff here. This is too much. Those invite options or other things are not necessary for this scenario. So there is something like this custom interface. Of course, there are other options, but we are just focusing on this. And this interface, this custom interface option allows you to just basically configure interface how exactly you want it to be configured.
So by default, all of the tools are available, but if you decide to limit that, then you can do that as you want.
So for example, I don't need this invite and export toolbar, so I can just switch it off. I don't need slides because I just want to letter A, so I don't want distractions. And I don't want all of those tools here. I just want drawing tools. So the draw, highlighter, eraser, the simple stuff. And undo, of course, it should be there because it's always handy. And I might not need the recording toolbar because maybe I just want to, see how the students are working on this, and I can just look over
Not
the
everything
shoulder.
needs to be an explainer video, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is just something that I can, show to some younger students, and they will be having, a lot easier, to just figure out what can they do here.
So basically at this point, Explain Everything has transformed into their own little notebook, right?
Yeah. And as you can see, there are just pencil, highlighter, and the eraser here, and the hand tool to just move objects. But this is not final. Maybe we will allow to customize this further. And if, for example, we want to create an explainer video or just record the students that they are performing the letter tracing, we can just show only this part of interface and don't think about anything else. And the best thing will be that we can pass this and transform those options, those interface options, to our collaboration participants. So if I'm a host in the collaboration, I can just go here and I can customize this interface for everyone that is in the collaboration, or my students, my participants.
So if you're a teacher teaching a remote class, for example, fantastic.
And often during the collaborations, you don't need recording, for example, so I would switch it off.
Not necessarily.
But maybe we need the insert tools to just, insert shapes, insert objects, so I can configure it further. Maybe I don't need the sharing, I don't need the slides, maybe I'm just working with a single slide. So this gives us many options, and it's, kind of something that you will use to create your own, use cases, and it will be, saved in your project, and you can just pass this to your participants. So it will be up to you how you configure this, depending on what scenario do you use.
Exactly. Yeah, Explain Everything is used in so many different situations that I think that this feature, just allowing you to adapt Explain Everything to your needs at a specific moment, will really be convenient for our users. So thank you for that. And speaking of scenarios, that's what we're going to talk about right now. But before we do, we'd like to ask you, all of you right here with us right now, about your Explain Everything experience. So as you can see, a survey should be popping up on your screens, and we'd like to ask you to fill it in for us. So right. I'm just going to wait for Cooper to do that.
Are you ready? I'm launching.
Here it comes.
There we go.
So if we could just ask you to fill that in for us, please.
Right. So we'd love to ask you about the things that you like to do and Explain Everything, and we'll be happy to hear what's your favorite thing to do. And
wow, those bars are really jumping, huh?
all right. Awesome. We'll give you
We
a
need
little
to
bit
start
more time.
taking bets, Cooper.
Right. It's exciting.
It is.
And it will also
like a
help
race.
us, understand how the app is used. Because Explain Everything has so many scenarios. It's often hard to us to, get all of the use cases or scenarios that our users are performing here.
Right.
So this is a challenge.
So it looks like things are stabilizing here, but nope, still people are still voting.
We'll give a couple more seconds.
Okay. Yeah, as Piotr mentioned, it is difficult for us because we're so close to the product that it's hard for us to really assess it from the point of view of just a regular user. And that's why it's great if we have people like you who are like a step further back and you can tell us what you think. So we do appreciate it.
All right. So
it looks like videos won.
Right. So let's end the poll right now. Thank you all for voting, and I'll click the end poll button here. So a final chance to vote. Okay. And now we'll just share the results with you.
So yeah, it looks like in creating instructional videos or explainer videos, as we like to call them, it looks like that won. And that actually confirms the data that we've had over the last year or so, how people have been using Explain Everything during COVID and all of this remote learning. So it was the same thing pretty much, that people were mostly using it for creating instructional or explainer videos. But I see that, well, teaching remotely kind of covers all of these scenarios, doesn't it? So thank you guys very much for your feedback. And now we can move on, and Piotr can tell us about scenarios in Explain Everything and where Explain Everything is going to be going in this area this year.
Yeah, so as mentioned, the Explain Everything has a lot of different scenarios and usages. So you can annotate, you can record, you can teach, you can sketch note, you can create videos, multiple kinds of videos, and so on. So, and this is just one product, one whiteboard, and it's often hard, for us, it's hard to get what features are most important and what should we focus on, but also for you. So when you have a single app that does such many things, it can be hard to grasp all the usages, and can be hard to get all the features and the quirks that are there. So that's we are trying to this is a challenge, basically, such complicated product. So we will have been tinkering with a thing that it's called interactive scenarios. And those scenarios should allow you to teach yourself the product, the explain the whiteboard, and showcases all of the use cases that are available in Explain Everything.
So you said, Piotr, that you've been tinkering, and I assume you have some sort of demo of this tinkering you guys have been doing.
So let me share my screen.
Okay, here it comes.
So imagine that you have something like this, Explain Everything, and we call it use case gallery. And this is something that could be available, from the start. Just basically you launch the app and you have this gallery here. And there is multiple scenarios that you can perform. So you can annotate documents, the basic scenario. You can create presentation. You can annotate with recording. You can create animations, videos. You can host online meetings or tutorings, or you can broadcast whiteboards through Zoom, teach, or just use external display to present in the classroom. You can annotate a video. You can show a live web page. So there is some multiple scenarios. This is just basic template for them. So this is not all of them, and this is just some kind of preview that we've been figuring out.
So just to clarify this, these are supposed to help people learn how to use Explain Everything.
Yes, exactly. So this way you can learn on your own pace, because we just show you those, and you don't have to learn everything. Maybe you don't want to host I don't know, online meetings or online tutoring, maybe you just teach in the classroom, so we would use external display to present in the classroom. Or maybe you just want to annotate documents or create videos. So you don't have to learn everything at once, because the app is very complicated. There's a lot of scenarios. So basically you can just start doing them at your own pace. And what do you want to from this kind of app? And I'm going to show you how this could look. And this is very early prototype. It just, basically it's just 2 weeks of work now. So we are sharing with you something that is in very, very early stage. I wouldn't even say that this is alpha stage. So it's
the pre-alpha stage.
It's really just a very rough prototype, but we said that, well, we should share it with you.
We wanted to share it with you
anyway.
Yeah,
so just show you how this might work. So imagine that you are taking this simple basic use case, annotate document or paper, because this is one of the simplest scenarios that you can perform using Explain Everything. So you have your own document, you want to annotate it, as I showed you before. This is very, very basic stuff. So we're tapping on this, and you will get some kind of information what this is all about and what you will learn here, and well, what can you do using these scenarios. Okay, this is simple, but take something like this. It's for example, online meeting, it will be much more complicated. But okay, let's take this first one. And after tapping on this, you will see something like this screen. And don't be intimidated by all of this stuff here, because this interface is just our debug interface that we are using to build prototypes. And you will see immediately the picker of the document picker, where you will be able to just
select
select a document. So we will not have to think about all of the stuff that are needed to just find the document and select. We will just provide you with all of the documents, filtered documents from all of the places. And you will get this hint here, select document. And this is something that we are working on. This will be animated object that will hint you what should you do next. And here it will say, for example, select document. And after, just let me start this from the beginning. And it will appear here and say select a document. And it will just stay here and tell you select. So I'm selecting a document. And
wow,
now
that's a big file, huh?
Yeah, and now it says select pages. So we will provide you with some example documents, but you can also use your own. Everything will be available there. Just this is, as I said, rough prototype. And now, as you can see, it says select pages. And it's, showcases the insert button.
Yeah, the insert button is flashing. So it's like, again, hinting what you should be doing,
so
right?
you know what you should do. You don't have to think about all of the stuff here. Just press insert. Because we are guiding you through the process. You can come back to it later, but now we are trying to guide you through the entire annotation process. So we are just telling you, okay, select those and go there. So I'm selecting insert. And now it says annotate. So basically, it can select the annotation tools. They are on the left side and they don't look the same as in the
current
app.
version.
Yeah, because this is just our prototype where we are building some stuff, and these icons are just some icons that we took from the iOS.
Yeah, they're just
icons.
generic icons.
Generic icons. So it will tell you annotate, and it will select for you the draw tool. Of course, in the production version, it will be highlighted and select and so on. So I can annotate now, and as you can see, everything is pre-selected for me. And after some annotation, it says share. So I annotated something and it tells me to share. So, and it also will showcase the share document option. And it, of course, also look different than in our app, but this thing shows that I should do the share. And of course, the copy here is, it will not say share, but it will, say what should you do next in some nicer words. But and it will also look nice. There will be animations. basically this is the component that will guide you through this use cases process. So you can just pop it here or here. It depends where do you want it to be, because it can just obstruct some view. And after sharing, it should disappear. So this is the last action that is required. And let's see, okay, it disappears. And now you just stay on this project. You can annotate further. You can show some other things here and try some other things here. And well, you just have the access to the remaining of the things that are available. But
so once again, Piotr, we're kind of coming back to the idea of things being simple and clear. And I think these guides will be incredibly helpful to people who are just getting started with Explain Everything. These little hints, I know that when I started using Explain Everything, I was a little overwhelmed at the beginning with just the enormity of things that can be done. So definitely those little hints would have been useful to me during my learning process. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and imagine this is very simple use case where we just annotate some stuff, but you can just learn how to use it in about 30 seconds or so, because it guides you. There are 4 steps, and those steps are here on this element, and they will be better showcased. Now the colors are kind of blending in, but we'll fix this. But those steps are very simple and
straightforward.
Yes, straightforward. So this is very simple use case, and to perform everything from selecting a document, annotating it, and sharing it takes about 30 seconds. But imagine that you have a lot other more complicated use cases, and like video creation, or creating sketch notes, or other or presentations, or explaining your concept through video, or just some use cases like say hi to your students through whiteboard. So let's imagine that you click this, and it will help you to say hi to your students, create some kind of template for it, so you just can meet your students for the first time using this. And well, it should be very straightforward, easy, and you can reuse them multiple times. So it means that you can just make this component this interactive component that shows the tips. You can make it disappear and just use it in your everyday work, to just use the template to say hi to your class, or just perform an online tutoring.
So basically, Explain Everything will walk you through every step of the process, from saying hi to doing, remote, synchronous or asynchronous collaborations. Awesome.
Yes. So, and you just, you will be learning on your own pace. So, for example, you want to learn how to broadcast whiteboard through Zoom, and it will teach you this use case will teach you. So imagine that this interactive component there, it shows you where you can broadcast, what should you do, how can you configure Zoom. We can just tell you what to do to achieve your goal. So, and we can add those use cases almost infinitely. So every new feature that will land in Explain Everything can be showcased here. So if
the sky's the limit, basically.
Yes. So if you add something new, you don't have to read some guides or other helps.
You can already do it in app, like on location, and learn while you're doing it, which is, as we know, the best way of learning things.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's interactive way of learning.
Fantastic.
And it also is an interactive way of achieving your goals, because you don't have to just learn. You can reuse those, and just you can showcase the app to somebody else. You can just use this annotate document to just annotate your documents. You don't have to.
Exactly. Here at Explain Everything, we are all about learning through doing, and multiple studies have shown that kids learn much better when, they're actually doing something instead of just listening. And this kind of allows all users, but teachers, to learn the app in the same way, pretty much, just by using it, by doing what they want to do and what they need to do. So that is super cool. And I can see that you guys have been really, really busy.
Yeah, we are, on the beginning of this, but as you can see, we are planning to launch some of those use cases, as the first iteration, and then, add to it. And of course, the gallery may look just entirely different than this, but well, we showed you very, very rough prototypes and very early version of this.
Well, thank you. I think it was really cool. And just from what I'm kind of catching out of the corner of my eye here on the chat, people agree. So good job. Fantastic. And we're going to move on to a few things that we're not yet quite ready to show you, but that are in our plans. And one of the things that we want to talk about here is LMS integration. But before we do that, we actually have one more poll for you. So Cooper, if you could just break out that poll. The poll is about the LMSs that you guys like. So let's take a look at that real quick.
All right, launching right
Thank
now.
you.
So if you use a LMS in your school, feel free to select the option that you're using, and we'll be happy to learn about the stuff.
Yeah, again, the more answers we get, the better.
I'm
it is for
expecting
us.
a canvas to win.
Are we taking bets already? Let's see.
Yeah.
My money was actually on Moodle, but I don't think that that's going to happen. Looks like Google Classroom is going to win this one.
Oh.
But I think
Google Classroom and Canvas. Those will be the two that are most widely used.
It looks like you know what you're talking about, Piotr, because it looks like that is in fact going to be the case.
All right, we'll give a couple more seconds.
Yeah, and Cooper, you created this poll. Why are we asking people about which LMS they use?
Well, that's a great question. Maybe we should ask Piotr about it.
So
Yes.
why is it so important for us to know which LMS people use?
So again, as we said before, if our goal is to save your time and make everything more streamlined and easier to use, and that's why we were thinking about integrating LMSs better. So currently you can use LMS with Explain Everything, but it's not always simple. You have to know the entire process. Maybe you have to watch some videos. Maybe you have to read some documents on it, and it's not ideal solution because it takes your time, and you don't have this time because you have other more important stuff to do, like teaching. So we are thinking maybe we should integrate Explain Everything better with those solutions, with those management systems. And well, I know that this is a lot of stuff because every LMS can be quite different, but maybe we can just try to find some basic functionalities that are common to management system. For example, creating an assignment. So you should be able to create assignment easily from Explain Everything by just clicking some button here, and you don't have to think about projects or sharing projects and so on. Those should be assignments, and we are just exploring those possibilities. But I'm imagining that you can just by one click you can create an assignment and send it to your students, and those students will be able to return this assignment to you by again clicking a single button somewhere in the project menu, or I don't know yet where, but I think this should be very straightforward because this is one of the basics that we are doing as teachers doing every day. And it should be easy.
I definitely agree. I'm just kind of gonna butt in here just for 1 second. So several months back, I had to do a series of videos about the integrations of different LMSs with Explain Everything, and I have to say it wasn't always easy. It wasn't always straightforward. Sometimes it was a little muddy or frustrating. So also coming back once again to like this theme of simplicity and clarity, that would definitely be much appreciated.
Yes, and this is hard because you're working with different systems. So we are working to Explain Everything. You are working with Zoom. You are working with LMSs, and this is those all tools have to talk to each other, and they don't always talk nicely. So we are trying to figure out what could we do to simplify
To
this?
get them to speak the same language.
Yes, exactly. And you don't have to, fight them yourself, but you should be able to, use, for example, Explain Everything to help you create an assignment and create, integration with your favorite LMS.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Can I give...
Okay, so yeah, that kind of covers the LMS topics. So let's talk a little bit about web editor and desktop experience. That's the next up on our agenda here. So Piotr, what changes and improvements is your team going to be making to Explain Everything this year in this area?
Yes, so one of the things is to make the web editor, better, because we've started with the mobile apps. And during our work on web editor, on web or desktop editor, we realized that this is a kind of different platform than the touch-operated tablets. So one of the things is to improve this experience, improve the desktop-based experience where you use the mouse or you use the keyboard. So improve this experience here, because not all of these interactions are the same on the touch-based devices and on the mouse-based devices. So we are trying to figure this out, how we can make this web experience better. The first thing that we'll be trying is to better object manipulation, better selection, more natural, because this is not a touch interface, it's more mouse-based. So
definitely trickier, right?
Yeah, okay, you can use some drawing tablets with your PC, but still most of the stuff that you are performing in the web editor will be mouse-based. So this is one of the things that we are trying to tackle here. The next thing is the performance. The web editor wasn't always the best performant, especially on the lower end devices, lower end computers. So this is one thing that will be coming probably this or next month also. Better performance on the low end devices, and overall better performance for the web editor. So it will not longer, your fans in your laptops will pop and it will be much better and faster.
This sounds like a very productive first quarter for your team.
Yes, and we were working on this in several months, because it requires rewriting a lot of web editor code, large part of application changing and testing. We have to test everything again, but this is thing that this web editor will look better and work better on all of the computers. So
great. And also I've been hearing a lot about the translations of Explain Everything, like different translations of the app coming out. So could you tell me a little bit more about what languages we're planning to introduce?
Yeah, so we are planning to, because mobile apps already have translations in 10 or I don't know, even more languages, and our web editor did not have translations. And this is one thing that needs to change, because our clients, our users are worldwide, and
of course we saw that map at the beginning, right? It's literally everywhere.
So exactly. So this is important to provide them the experience in the native language, especially when the users or students are young. They don't necessarily understand all of the English and all of this. Because this is kind of advanced, let me say, all of the tools and all of this stuff here.
And the same goes for older users as well. Not everybody speaks English,
so not everybody speaks English, and we are planning to introduce the translations again quite soon. And for now, it will be European languages mostly. Of course, Spanish, French, German. And later we will introduce languages like Chinese and Korean,
yeah,
and Japanese.
I've been hearing about that.
So this is one of the things that this is basic things. We didn't have it, but we are changing it soon. So
Sure. That's cool. And also a lot of people, when they message our support team, they ask about different features that are available on one platform, but aren't available on another platform. And I know that user experience, of course, is, super important to your team. So could you tell me how you guys are going to be dealing with these differences?
Yeah, and this is kind of hard task. I have to be frank here because, well, we are building our app on three different platforms. So the three different code bases, and this is something that we have to work with. So if we introduce one feature on one platform, for example, iOS or Android, it does not necessarily mean that this feature has to be written in the separate code.
So
on
three
the
different versions per feature.
Exactly. So this requires a lot more time, but it also gives us flexibility to adapt this feature for each platform, as I mentioned previously. So it's something that we have to live with. And yeah, but it's not necessarily bad, because thanks to it we can, for example, work on the performance of the web editor. And it couldn't maybe be possible if you have just one app, and all of the features that are native for mobile devices, for example iOS, Android, can be easily added to our apps. So we're trying constantly to meet all of these features on the single page. So if we have, for example, insert recording on the iOS, we should have the insert recording option on the Android and on the web editor. And this year we are planning to add those missing features to the web editor. For example, the speed up of the recording, the insert recording option, those translations. This is another missing option because it is available on the other platforms. And also a lot of other stuff, for example, background patterns and all of these things that are available on the mobile platforms.
So basically like a uniformification, if I could say that, of the platforms.
And we will be also on the web editor, you can export PDFs. It's not as advanced now yet, but still you will be soon able to export projects, export images, and so on. So we are constantly working and monitoring what is missing here and here. And finally we will be able to meet all these features and all the platforms. And then when we create a new feature, because web editor started a lot later than the mobile, so it has to catch up. But then when we just try to and we'll meet all the features, missing features on all the platforms, we can build, for example, this new use case gallery. We can build it on all the platforms.
Yeah, this use case gallery, the one that you just showed us a few moments ago.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. So we are trying to meet all of the platforms on with the feature parity. I call it the feature parity.
Yeah. So all of you who have maybe ever wondered why something works on one platform and not on the other, we're working on it, and that should be done pretty soon, right?
It takes time, but still we are trying to catch up, and we are catching up.
Fantastic. So last but not least, let's talk about collaboration, because as I mentioned at the very beginning of this webinar, collaboration has been especially important to people, who are now teaching remotely, everybody's, stuck at home, and this is really, really important to our users. So the ability to collaborate in real time and over distance has never been more important than it is, now or over the last years. So why don't you tell us about the future of Explain Everything when it comes to different collaborative features?
So in last year, we've seen a huge increase in the collaboration, and the collaboration is growing month by month. We see it in our data. So we took the last year to make it more stable, and we also will be taking this year to make it more stable. But what's more important, we will be opening it to more collaborators on the single project.
So it was 20 previously, right?
Yeah, it's 20, but there are hiccups, and you can just add more, and this is kind of weird. But we'll be adding more capability to the collaboration, and we were thinking about opening it to the class capacity. So the class has around 30 students.
Yeah, the average classes.
The average class has 30, so it should work without any hiccups and seamlessly for the entire class.
Awesome.
So this is the target for this year. So we would be able to just invite your whole class in a single project, and it should work, great.
You mentioned quirks. I think one of the quirks that you had in mind was like this thing where if there's a bunch of people collaborating at the same time, then the project kind of pauses for a second, right, when another user is joining.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things you want to eliminate.
We will get
right?
rid of that, and this is weird quirk that's always been there. So another user is joining when
time kind of stops for a moment.
Time
right?
kind of stops, and everybody is wondering what's happening. Why I should have to wait for this user? Let him join.
You snooze, you lose. Am I right?
Don't stop my work. I'm just trying to work. What should I care? Let him join, and I'm working.
Right.
So we will get rid of that. Also, it was weird quick that you could not join during the recording in the project. This is something that we'll get rid of and make this collaboration more stable.
So you're going to be ironing out all of those little wrinkles to make things as smooth as possible.
Yeah. So this is one of the most important features of Explain Everything, and we see that the usage of collaboration grew immensely during the pandemic. So this is one of the things that we are taking care of, just basically all the time. We are monitoring it, and we're trying to make it more stable.
Right. Thank you so much, Piotr. That was a lot of information. And to be honest, I didn't know about all of these things myself, and it sounds pretty exciting. And as I said, what I'm catching out of the corner of my eye here, it seems like our users are also pretty excited about all this. This kind of brings us to the last part of the webinar and the agenda that I mentioned at the beginning. So basically, we are going to move on to the Q&A section, which is right here. I see that many of you have been asking questions over the course of this webinar, and that's great. I'm sure you've kept Cooper and Marianna quite busy, but yeah, if you have anything else that you'd like to ask, now would be the time. And you could hardly find a better person to answer your question than Piotr over here. So yeah.
All right, we actually managed to answer most of the questions. Thank you, Bart, and thank you, Marianna, for helping me with answering the questions, and thank you for all the questions we've had here. There were some exciting ones. So the final question that we have here is from Chad, who was very happy, by the way, about the increased number of students. So glad that you came in to learn about this one. So the question from Chad comes, and it's: can the teacher set certain tools for collaborators while keeping all the tools for themselves, or does it change the interface for all, including the host?
It is a great question, and probably somebody asked me before. I'm one of yours. So yeah, and I was thinking about this is kind of scenario that you want to have. So you have all the tools, and your students have only a subset of them. And we will figure out how to do it, because this is one of the cases that you want to use this functionality.
Right,
so,
but
yes, currently no, in this prototype that I showed you, and it might not work like this in the first initial release, but I have this in mind, so we'll figure out how to.
We'll get there sooner or later.
We'll get it, yes. So for now, maybe for the first release, we'll just release it like everybody has the same subset of tools. And then we'll allow hosts to have own tools, and follower students will have some kind of subset.
So continuing to go in the direction of like maximum flexibility for the teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
But maintaining the simplicity. This is
yeah, definitely. Cooper, have we got anything else there?
Oh yeah, well, they are coming.
Okay.
So Peter asked, Anastasia mentioned helper videos for integrations with LMS. Are videos available for using Explain Everything on Moodle? So we've actually covered, we've actually covered some of those abilities that are currently available in Explain Everything and Moodle and other LMSs. Though they are very simple. So what Piotr mentioned before, you folks probably don't see me, but I'm just kidding.
It's our disembodied voice, but it is in fact Cooper back there. So.
Yeah. But as we expand the integrations, we'll provide more context and more content, instructional content and videos that will cover that.
yeah, and this is the goal for this year. So to integrate all of the LMS systems, would explain everything in one way or another. Maybe we can just streamline it and make it interactive. Maybe we will have to create a videos or other materials, but this is one of the focuses in this year.
Yeah, I'm seeing here on the chat, somebody mentioned that, Cooper, when you're talking, there's a terrible echo. So maybe it would just be better to let Piotr answer the questions, because I'm not sure, maybe your microphone, you're too far from the microphone or something.
Yeah, probably because
actually it's because there are two microphones turned on.
Oh, okay. That's also
no worries.
Any other tough ones for Piotr here? He's still got a lot of energy.
Oh yeah. Could I put students manually on different slides?
No, but this is kind of a scenario that I would like to tackle, using this guided use cases. So imagine that you have a use case that tells you that, create a lesson with the students on the different slides. And after, entering it, you will be able to just, all of the students will go to the different slides. And why this way? Because we can add these options probably to the interface and try to, put it in the collaboration interface somewhere, but it can increase the complexity. I'm afraid of it. So I would really like to create the scenarios for it where you don't have to think how you should configure this collaboration and configure those options, but you should just use some kind of preset.
Yeah, as you keep on coming back to this issue of simplicity, right?
Yeah,
and the more complex something is, the more things can go
wrong. If we add more
wrong.
options to the collaboration, it will, because this our product has so many scenarios that everything has to be basically configured somehow. And if we configure it manually, it's kind of hard because all of the options have to be somewhere there. And maybe we can just try to create the configurations for it using those use cases. So we'll just enter the use case where it says all of the students will be on the different slides. Maybe we will put it in the collaboration menu because we have 3 scenarios there. Maybe this is a better way. But I would like to solve it using some kind of scenario, not just some kind of settings that you have to always configure manually, because it's
going to be tiresome and complex.
Yes, exactly. So answering the question, yes, this is something that we will be doing, but not yet now. We will have to be ready with all of these use cases and these scenarios. And then we can try to put some new scenarios that will be available for everyone else, because we can do some kind of configuring stuff, but not everybody will be able to configure it. So maybe it's better to share it as a use case, as a scenario, so it will be easier for everybody who...
Yeah, we talked about making things more uniform earlier, right? So that's kind of what we're going for at the end of the day.
But this is very good feedback, and I think it's one of the scenarios that all students are on the separate slides and they are doing their work there.
Well, that's why these Q&As are so great, because sometimes people come up with good ideas.
Yeah, and this is one of the scenarios that I would gladly put in this gallery that I've showed you before. Just, where I said, say hi to your students. Another one could be create a lesson where all the students are on the different pages.
Yeah, so thank you for that really good question. In that case, we're going to be kind of wrapping it up because this has been going on for almost 65 minutes at this point, so over an hour. We'd like to thank all of you for your questions, for your feedback, and just generally for being here with us. We always like to drive home the point that Explain Everything is what it is because you guys are with us, and it's your feedback. Your feedback is one of the things that allows us to continue to make Explain Everything better and better. So thank you. One last chance for questions and last second questions, and and I think we'll be wrapping this up. So
I'll bring in the echo once again.
Okay.
Sorry for that. So some of people in the chat said that some limits are different, say in colleges or in UK or in different classrooms. Do we have any plans for increasing this limit even higher, or something else maybe that we have some in store for?
This is a very good question. And because, the class and 30-person class is the class that, we understand as a elementary school or other school, but universities and higher education, this is entirely different case. And we are also trying to tackle this, requirements and these teachers that teach in the higher education. So this is something that we would like to do, and for now you can to share with multiple students, for example 200 or so or 100, you will have to use Zoom. And Explain Everything, of course, is integrated with Zoom quite well, but still you don't necessarily need or want to use Zoom. You should not necessarily need to use Zoom or want to use Zoom in these scenarios. So imagine that you could use Explain Everything to just broadcast like Zoom does to a large number of users, for example, 100 or 200. And they would be able to participate in the project as viewers, not necessarily everyone will be able to participate as an editor, but you will control that. So you can say that you want to have a few editors and the rest of them viewers. And this is one of the things that we are thinking of, how to create such experience that you will have just one link, one Explain Everything link that you will be able to share to everybody. And they will be entering as viewers. Maybe you can promote them to editors. Maybe you can demote them to viewers later. But you can just, carry on with your lecture, and the people just will join like on the Zoom.
Well,
so you will have just one tool, Explain Everything, and it's also increases, speed, which you will be able to use.
I was going to mention that as well, because, with some devices, if you're running two apps at the same time, that could also slow things down a bit. So that
you don't need to configure Zoom. You don't need to, integrate those two, because there is multiple points of failure. If something fails, there is two apps and you don't know necessarily which one and which spot. Yeah. So we'll have one app and you will be using it in your lectures. Also maybe in the webinars, we will be testing it probably.
Yeah, we use Explain Everything already,
but this is quite, I can't say when we will be doing something like this, because this is kind of big thing, but this is in our plans and we will see how it goes. And we are thinking about lectures and bigger number of participants, but for now those 30, this is quite a near future, and the larger groups are more distant, but still it is something that we have in mind.
So once again, you've kind of read our minds in these Q&A sessions. So a lot of times the things that you're asking about are things that we're already thinking about. So great minds think alike, as they say, and that